Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, that's Ben Olson. Together we're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. There's like 500 hours of content over there on that other show. We've been doing that show for 7 or 8 years. So if you like this one, you should go check out Thinking LSAT as well.
Yep.
Hi, I'm scheduled for the February LSAT and have been studying for about 4 months. In the last couple of weeks, I've been consistently missing 2 or 3 questions out of the first 10, almost exclusively in logical reasoning. I usually get the first 15 correct, and this recent struggle has left me a bit confused. I've been very cognizant of taking my time and slowing down, and now I'm not getting to as many questions as I was before. Maybe I'm overthinking these questions? It's obviously a concern for me, seeing as though the test is coming up quickly. I'm wondering what advice y'all had. I've been listening to both podcasts throughout my studying and am a huge fan of the LSAT Demon. Thank you, Tyler. What do you think's going on here with Tyler?
I don't know. Tyler could be overthinking some of these things, but I guess what I'm thinking is I feel like this discussion is about the end result, right? So Tyler is getting 2 to 3 questions wrong and then talking about that. I want to know a lot more, and I think Tyler should be a lot more concerned about his understanding of those 2 or 3 questions that he gets wrong after the fact. Like, look back. Why do you think you missed them? How complicated were they in reality? What led you to pick the wrong answer? I feel like if Tyler is as far along as it sounds like he actually is, and usually getting the first 15 correct, then hopefully you also understand why you missed those questions and you realize you're not that far from getting them right. Like there's a difference between someone getting 2 or 3 wrong out of the first 10 and having really no understanding of those questions and someone else being like, oh yeah, I didn't take time enough to think about that conclusion and now it makes total sense. Why don't I just do that next time?
I agree. I think that is sound advice. I have 2 other things to say. One, are you sure it's not just a small sample thing, dude? Like, I've been consistently missing 2 to 3 questions out of the first 10 in the last couple weeks. Well, okay. In the last couple weeks, this is consistent with scare quotes around it. I'm not sure you have enough data to back up that claim. I'm not sure it's possible to have enough data to back up that claim. I mean, I believe you that in the last 2 weeks that has been consistent. I just don't think that means that you are now consistently missing 2 to 3 questions out of the first 10.
I could actually question the consistency of the data too. I know you just said you believe him. And Tyler, I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm just saying that I'm shocked how bad our perception of reality is. So
right. It could have been that it happened on half of his practice sections. Right.
And those are the ones he's remembering. He's not remembering the ones that he did
selection
well.
bias.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, Tyler, you might hear this and you say, that's bullshit. I know exactly what happened. That's the crazy thing. I keep a journal and sometimes I remember stuff and I tell people and then I look back and I'm like, oh shit, that is not what happened. But that's literally what I believe to my core happened.
How about, could we look at Tyler's study history?
We can.
Ben's doing it right now. While he does that, stop using the word cognizant, Tyler. I looked that up for you, and cognizant means having knowledge or being aware of. Google gives it the formal tag. I would add to that an ugly tag. That word sucks. I hate it when I hear people say that they are cognizant of something. It just means you're aware of it. Yeah. You're substituting an ugly 3-syllable word for a totally normal, everyday 2-syllable word, and it doesn't make you sound smarter. It has the exact opposite, actually, of that effect. When people say that they are cognizant of something, it's like, oh, you're trying to impress me with a fancy, ugly word where a shorter, prettier word would have sufficed. I'm sure I do that all the time myself. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm just saying don't use that word because it's gross. Utilize is another example of that. I think that there's probably a name for that, Ben, in like where you're speechifying. I don't know. It's a thing that you do to a word, and you like it's like it used to be a verb, and then now you change it into an adjective. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well,
Maybe people call it an adjectivization or something, but it's
I don't know
gross.
about
Just
that.
stop doing it.
I do know about nominalizations. That's turning verbs into nouns, but
Okay, well, this is very similar to that because it
yeah.
is aware. It's related to the word cognition, which that in turn must. So that's a noun, cognition. So you're taking that noun and you're turning it into an adjective.
Yeah.
And cognition might be a useful word. Cognition, I guess, probably means thinking. It might mean like a fancy version of thinking. Let me look that up. Cognition is the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. I mean, so learning? Or, yeah, I guess it means more like learning than it does like thinking. Huh. Okay, so that might be a useful word. But taking that and then turning it into cognizant of something is turning a noun into an adjective, and we don't need that because we already have an adjective aware that will do that job. End of lecture.
Cool. So I'm looking at, I believe, Tyler's account.
We have his first and last name. We're not going to say his last name on the show. So
We're not going to say it there, but okay. So there's only one Tyler with this last name,
okay.
and been active recently, right? Actually, as of today.
Okay.
So
Got to be the guy. Yeah.
it's got to be the guy. Tyler, I'm confused. The last time you did a practice section was in November, and you have not done any tests, at least in the Demon. So if you're doing tests, I don't know where you're doing them. They're not in the Demon. Your sections have not been touched for a long time. It looks like you have drilled recently, but not a lot. So I am confused.
Interesting. Yeah, if you're doing sections, I don't know why you're not doing them in the Demon. You should definitely be doing them in the Demon.
You can review them when you're done.
You can read our explanations. You can use the ask button. You can keep them in your study history where your teachers and tutors can help you. Okay. Write us back, Tyler, daily at lsatdemon.com. Let us know what's going on there.
So Tyler is a Demon free student. So maybe
okay. So can't do sections or can't do more than a couple sections in the. Got it. Cool. We love our free students.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Tyler, for being a free student. It makes perfect sense that you're not doing your time sections. If you had been a paid subscriber, that's one of the benefits, is that we would have been able to look at your study history and give you a little bit more help. But we understand that you're using us for our free help, which we thoroughly encourage you to do.
Yep. Cool.
Awesome. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question and have your grammar word choices critiqued or your
accounts
questioned and your account looked up. Please email us daily at lsatdemon.com if you want to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.